Did you do any research
Nope.
on this fine film afterwards?
Nope.
You better be cute, babies. You better be cute.
Smile. Parker Finn, his directorial debut, feature directorial debut. He directed a short film, which essentially inspired this movie. Yeah, it was a horror film, kind of unique concept. This lady, she's a psychiatrist.
Yep. 75% of the population are female psychologists now that are psychologists.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like, used to be 50-50 in like the 70s. I was looking at a stat today, and it's like now 25% men, 75% women.
I wonder if that inspired this plot at all.
I doubt it. I'm sure it was just...
Doubt it.
Yeah. The guy had a short story before this. It turned into a short film that turned into this.
Yes, exactly. And the lead actress named Sosie Bacon, I thought she was really incredible.
She's good.
She's good. And do you know who her parents are?
Kevin Bacon.
And?
Who haven't cared, but he's
Kira Sedgwick. What were the highlights of the film for you?
The thing I always say movies don't have, it had a theme.
Yeah.
It had a plot. It had a reason to exist. Cool. And it intertwined the horror with that. You know, it's just... The horror is a manifestation of your internal horror, right? And that's what they did with Her With Her Mind. It's just a manifestation. And the plot with all these movies, Freddy, you know, if you don't believe it, if you can fight... It's all... If you can fight your inner horror, then the external horror doesn't exist anymore, right? It ceases to exist or it loses its power. It's all of them
exactly.
are about... So it followed the rules, and there are rules. And sorry, writers, there's rules unless you're really, 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 really good and exceptional. And they're not. You're not, by the way, because they come around very rarely. And it followed the rules really well, and it did it in an original way. That's the point of like good writing. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a beginning, middle, end. No, there's not. We're going to make only beginning and end. There's no middle, right? You can't get away from certain things, right? But the key and the challenge is how do you, in 120 minutes, how do you make a movie that follows the rules but in an original way?
Yes.
Because stories have been told forever. Thousands of years.
Yes.
And that's the challenge. And they did a good job of doing it. I really like what they did with it. With the horror, the theme, tying it together. Jump scares, they were fun jump scares.
Yeah, they weren't cheap. And that's what I liked about it, because you get so much of that. And even in Black Phone, we had talked about that. There were some cheap attempts at jump scares, and the majority of the time it feels that way, but this one didn't. And I was trying to decipher why it didn't feel cheap and like a sellout. I think it just fit the plot so well. And I know we're not going to go into the ending unless you just want to. I don't want to give any spoilers on how
we give spoilers all the time, I think.
That's true. It doesn't matter. The ending didn't bother me. I was okay with it. Yeah. I think it was apropos to the story and the culmination of where this character was destined to essentially go.
Why?
Because it's less scary if she gets away.
That doesn't fit the character, the theme of the stories. The character theme of stories is this girl is unable to relinquish her guilt from seeing something horrifying, right? Yeah. And she's haunted because she sees a horrifying thing. She's already had trauma before, right? This thing feeds off of trauma. Mm-hmm. The more trauma they have, the more powerful it gets. Just like Freddy, the more afraid they are in their dreams, the more they believe, the more powerful he gets. With it, the more afraid they are, the more powerful. Sure. With her, the more trauma it can induce upon you and scare you, the more powerful it becomes.
This is true.
When you stop that, it loses its power. She did it. It lost its power, and she solved her old demons too. She earned the right to escape this within the confines of that story. They broke the confines of that story to make a sequel, to get a scare, to make people run out of the theater, or something else. They didn't do it for storytelling. It really bothers me. As
you were saying that, I was thinking it would have been really cool to maybe, or maybe this is kind of what I assumed in the theater too, for her to pass it off and have someone killed eventually. And she thinks she's broken the curse. It's going somewhere else. And then the movie ends with some creepy, amazing shot of just some person smiling at her. And that's just the end of it. I don't, would that have worked for you, or would it have been more complex? Or have you even kind of come up with an ending that would have worked for you better than the actual ending?
Yes to both. So what you just suggested, I think, is the easy way out. And they took the easy, moderate way. Still easy, maybe easiest. Maybe yours is better than that, but there's still easy. Here's what you do.
It's okay.
I don't think you're taking it. Yeah, it's always the last scene. There's a smile, the door opens.
Sure, of course. That's typical. It's typical. It's what you would expect.
Here's what you do. There's only one thing that's counter to the story, and it was a black guy that ended up killing someone that did something wrong, right?
Right.
So in the moral confines of Scream, if you have sex, if you have drugs, if you're immoral, you get to be killed, or bad things happen to you, right?
Yes.
So here's what happens. She overcomes her mom. She does go back to that guy. They do get back together because clearly her husband was not the right fit and was looking for the safe play. We'll talk about that in a second. Husband-wife relationship was really cool. Anyway, they get together. It's really late at night. He wakes up and there's a knock at his door or whatever. And he's like, I'll get it. She's like, great, I want to sleep. He opens the door and it's the black guy because it re-haunted him because remember he had to kill someone. It's like, okay,
Sure.
I'm going to get my power back by taking this guy again. And he smiles at him. And then you cut it out.
Danny boy, I like it. Start writing,
And
please.
it fits the story structure.
Anyone listening to this podcast, I know we have very few listeners, but this is going to be up. We assume forever. Encourage this guy to start writing scripts because you got it. Your brain just works like that, and I've always been impressed by it. But
Thanks, friend.
I actually love that. Yeah, that that would have worked so much better. The CGI was impressive though at the end.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great shots. Great horror. Great stuff that stuck with you, which I want. Okay, what stuck with you? That night, I had a couple of times at night where I was like looking around a little bit. What makes you still like linger? Scary images.
It always gets me to see a figure in the distance. Just an ominous figure that's just, you can tell is staring at you, but you can't see the details. That's why I liked It Follows so much. I thought it really touched on that, and that affects me personally. If you see a gross close-up of some monster pulling, which was really impressive, by the way, that's way less scary than something that could just actually happen. You could look out of your bedroom window or your office window, 200 yards away, something staring at you. I think that's extremely creepy.
So what part?
When she was looking out of the office building or her office and at the ground, and the girl was staring up. I love shots like that. Yeah, the jump scare where she was listening, she kept going back on the computer to listen to try to decipher what that sound was, and then the fucking thing, that's creepy. And when she just laid back down in her bed, and the figure was, you could tell it was in the bathroom, just very, very subtly saying something. You couldn't even really tell what it was. I love that.
She said, "Come here."
Yeah.
She's like,
I couldn't even tell what she was saying.
Rose, come here, Rose. For me, the one I hated, and it's really good, was the black and white dark image of her when she gets her wine for the first time that night, and that girl is in the background.
Oh yeah, that
right
was
before
good.
her husband shows up.
That was good.
It's all black and white.
That one got me too. Yeah, I love that feeling where you get a little adrenaline jolt from an effective scare in a theater, and it was good. Yeah, I had low expectations for this, but it was exceeded all of that stuff. And again, I'm still with it on the ending. I didn't hate it like you did, but your ending would have been really special.
There's these moments I wish I could talk to these directors and get him. I want to give the guy credit, because if you come up with something, kudos to the guy. I'm really proud. This was made. It was possible. It makes me happy about movies a little bit again. I'm hoping some dumbass producer of the studio got involved and said, "We want a sequel. Do something stupid."
Yeah.
Because I want to sit down with a guy and be like, "Come on, man. You're a writer. Right. Why?" And then one of two things usually happen. Usually they defend it and they give you some weird excuse, which is either true or they're just saying what the studio wants, or they might actually give you this is what I wanted, but my hands were tied.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that's what happened with him.
I would assume there's some meddling, or because this he's a rookie. Who is he going to say, "No, fuck this, I'm doing this"? No, that's your first job, your first big job for Paramount. Massive studio, one of the top 3, top 4. Yeah, right out the gate, this guy is in A-list territory, and he will get more, way more work, and you'll probably hear from this director again because he's obviously very, very skilled. But yeah, I would bet on the fact that this wasn't his ideal ending.
Yeah, he has nothing under his belt. I think he's mid-30s or whatever. But yeah, his first time, they're like, "Hey, Saw sucks." The Insidious series and all those guys attached to it, which is the friends from college, the director Wan, I think, James Wan or whatever.
Yeah, James Wan.
And his friend.
Is that The Conjuring too? They do that?
Yeah, they do all those shitty, terrible movies. They're like, "We need a sequel farm for horror movies," and they're probably like, "So end this with some sort of way to give us a sequel, and here's our suggestion." Something like that. I don't believe this would happen. It was just really clumsily done. There was a better way of doing it, and you could still do a sequel.
Well, I think it's exciting that this guy has future work ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, and then you see Rian Johnson make that Star Wars movie and whatnot, but then he does make Knives Out and Knives Out 2, which will probably not be good, It's...
I don't know. Knives Out was amazing. And is it Rian Johnson or
Rian?
It is.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Looper was
is it Ryan? Oh, I'm guessing.
I think it's Ryan. I know it's pronounced or it's spelled RIA.
Isn't accent mark over the I?
I want to say it's Ryan for some reason.
Okay.
I feel like I heard multiple interviews and those.
I think I've always just said in my head Ryan. I don't think everyone's ever said Ryan, so maybe it is Ryan. I don't know.
It would make sense just based on the way it's spelled, but who cares?
We do this a lot. We get into podcasts. Someday we're going to talk more about movies. That's why we do this side thing, which is fine. Yeah. Movies, because there are things to say. The Couple.
Yeah.
I'm going to say The Couple was The Couple. You know what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
besides that, I like that, again, it was non-traditional, right? How does it usually work? Oh, the husband's really supportive, you know, whatever else. This guy was like, no, I got this pretty flashy life and you're weird and I was worried about it and I don't know I want to have weird. And she kind of calls him out. Yeah. It was cool to see her get past her demons with each character, her sister, her husband, her ex-boyfriend. She was solving those problems by addressing her trauma throughout the movie, with the final culmination of her final trauma.
Very well said. That's
which
true.
They fucked up royally, but still, it was cool. Yeah, the marriage thing. I love when she's like, "Make your fucking self at home," and it was good.
Yeah, it was good. How'd you feel with the guy's performance? What's his name? Usher or the?
He's okay. I've seen him in The Boys.
Yeah,
not a lot to say. I don't think he was cast well for the role.
I don't either. No,
and I think that's because of checking boxes, as you know. I mean,
yeah, possibly. For me, it was overacting. He was the only character that I felt like it was, why are you going so hard in this scene? This doesn't really call for it.
Or so weird, like not fitting.
Yeah.
It was when you're showing up, it's got to be tough as an actress. Like you're playing off the guy and you're like, I'm better than you by a lot. And you're not really fitting the scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't fit. And that's right. Okay, I'll try and defend the actor. Maybe the lines they gave him were like, say it like this. And he says that, you know, I don't know.
No, you never do. You never do. Ton of factors go into that sort of stuff.
Sister and the husband's relationship is interesting. That reminds me of the San Francisco couples I'd see when I worked at Big Tech.
I bet.
The kept man and the pretty girl that has a guy who's also, that's her boyfriend or husband just because of financial convenience, but she has no attraction to him anymore and she just walks all over him. That's what it was, you know.
This is like a fun scenario to be locked into. Though, what'd you think about that shot of the sister walking out to the car?
So great.
Yeah, that's a great shot. And I had forgotten about that from the trailer. I was thinking today, this movie, I think, really surprised an audience, or it opened South by Southwest, maybe. Maybe that was it. If we had seen this movie with zero trailer, and we just went in, we're going to go see a movie called Smile. We don't even really know what genre it is. Do you think it would have hit you harder and you would have been more impressed if you had no lead-in, no build-up?
Maybe, but anymore I don't like wasting my time, so I'm glad I take a little look. I don't know, but like I can't do that anymore because I can't trust movies, and I'm not going to go in blind and waste 2 hours of my life.
That is true. Yeah, I wish there was more of a safety net there, but I would love to have that opportunity to see some movies blind and have no expectations. This would be one I think that would be really cool to experience it without knowing anything. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get there one day and be able to hit an opening night at a festival and possibly see something potentially really good. I don't know.
And I would be that guy. I'd be like, "Hi, director. Question about the ending. Why did it suck, despite everything else in this?" Crickets chirp in the audience.
That would be you. All right. Anything else you wanna discuss about this guy?
I mean, obviously the movie is inferior to Black Phone, which is 15 times better. I think that's how bad it is. I think about it regularly because I'm so upset about how bad it was.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And so Black Phone, I'm pretty sure the ratings, reviews, whatever you want to call those, are much higher than Smile.
You can't trust anymore.
Just to put that into perspective. But
yeah, when anyone tells me, sorry, even you with IMDb, like, oh, that's a little better. No, it's not. They run off the same algorithm. They're probably owned by the same people. I think Amazon owns IMDb, actually, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. This commentary said, we're talking about truth. You're like, well, okay, Daniel, I can't trust news, whatever else. How do you get the truth anymore, man? Like, what's the solution? That's where it's kind of interesting. It now relies on what relationships have you made throughout your life for more people like you that are actually original thinkers that you can now ask for advice on certain things. In this case, we're talking about movies. You can't trust. You have to have a group of friends that are also moviegoers that you trust to get the answer, which in a way is kind of neat, right? Because like now you have to have close bonds and relationships to get the truth out of things anymore, to get some sort of like, you know.
That's true, but don't you think original thinking is at an all-time low?
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's
in
why I like it.
our lifetimes.
I'm talking about restrictions. Can't get too deep here. In game design, there's a thing called design by subtraction or restrictions. So what you do is you don't give a game you can run from here to here, but there's obstacles along the way. You put in restrictions to make the game more interesting, right? And from that, the character gets better, they grow, or sorry, the player or whatever. In this case, I'm saying now we're in a time in society where it's really hard to become an original whole person, and it's a challenge. But if you take the risk and try it, there's a big reward because you get truth at the end of it.
Yeah.
But if you do what everyone else is, how am I bringing some movies? If you go on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, you get to be an NPC like everyone else, and you get to stay in your cave and be like, well, they said it was good, but it's not. And you know in your core it's not, right? That little like gut feeling or whatever. But if you've developed good relationships, made friends like you and other ones that really judge movies, you're like, I can now trust my circle to recommend good movies. But I can't get this overnight. I can't go on this website and log on and get these people. I have to have built a relationship with these people. I don't know if I'm making sense. It's just
You are. I mean, who is actually living their truth nowadays?
right.
You have to ask yourself that.
And that's why I like, because now there's more work. And at the end of that work is you get to find who you are and find yourself. In this case, in movies.
Well, I think this is a great way to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're doing right now. What do you give this puppy? Do you have any numbers for it?
I'm not going to be that guy who just throws it all away because the ending. It will factor in, but it won't factor in many points. I'm giving it a solid 8.6.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big number.
You show me a good story, you show me a good theme, you show me originality, and you still bring me back to the roots of a horror movie. You win in my book.
Okay. Beautiful, man. My number is 7.7. Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll see what this director does next, and should be interesting. But Smile was very entertaining. I think I was running on about maybe 3-4 hours of sleep, and it was late at night, and I was convinced I would fall asleep before the movie even started, but it was I was completely locked in the whole time, so I really liked that feeling. It was cool. And no one in the audience was too dramatic. No screams, no jumping up and down, no oh, that's our cue. That's our cue. We're out. Okay, so I got to go to the Vegas airport right now and run an errand and bring one of our producers in.
Smile, everyone. Don't frown.
Just smile. Yeah, go watch this movie. It's good. Oh shit. Okay. So we skipped the thing. You watch the thing. I didn't watch the thing. And we're not going to do an episode on the thing because apparently the thing, it was just a thing. So what movie are we watching next, buddy? It's got to be something scary. I have a great suggestion.
Must be scary?
Don't. Yeah, we're Halloween, man. We're October.
There aren't
Come
good
on.
scary movies. They're all going to be like fucking sub-7
Okay,
movies.
let me go 2 in a row, and then you go 2 in a row, okay? Let's watch Zodiac.
Okay, it's not really a horror movie. It's
close enough.
a mystery thriller.
It's close enough.
Crime noir. Well, okay.
Well,
fine.
Orphanage wasn't horror either, so we're going to go.
Orphanage was a horror movie.
Orphanage is not
It was
a
a
horror
mystery
movie.
horror movie.
It's not a horror movie. Supernatural.
Just because you can't read subtitles, don't get upset about it.
Hey, man. We weren't going to talk about that. We were going to keep it in.
I had to dictate out loud for Matt.
All right, whatever. So Zodiac, David Fincher, and
If the scurrying beast hasn't murdered you and yours by then.
I hope it does. And you're just tormented the rest of you. Do you think that would really bother you? I don't think you would be bothered at
No.
all.
New tenants. Yeah. And I do it right this time. So
Wouldn't that be a hell of a welcome to Vegas to be
disemboweled by a ethereal being? Yeah.
some sort of giant bat?
It's probably a bat.
I don't think it is. I think
Or,
it's something else. I think it's an alien.
Mayan, like, I don't know, ghost or something weird.
A Mayan ghost.
Or Indian. Indian would be better because we're in Vegas. Yeah, some sort of like payback for defeating them and mercilessly winning against them or whatever. I don't know.
But you're next.
We should probably cut that out.
I don't think so. I think we gotta leave it in.